What's going on, guys? I'm Chris and welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about my top 10 favorite actors of all time. Now, there are obviously more than 10 actors that I love and have seen multiple of their movies. They just couldn't make the list because I can't put every actor that exists on this list. Now, one way that I'm kind of judging this is how many movies I've seen them in, are they in any of my favorite movies, as well as how excited I get for their upcoming movies. So my honorable mentions are the guys that I love a lot of their movies. They just barely missed the cut, and they are going to be Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Andrew Garfield, Hugh Jackman, and Jake Gyllenhaal. I know. It hurts a lot of you out there. Jake Gyllenhaal's probably high on your list. So coming in at number 10 for me is going to be Bradley Cooper. Now, this is an actor who I have an immense amount of respect for, considering the fact that he's been nominated for so many Oscars and left empty-handed every single time. I mean, you gotta love him. He's gonna get one day. I have strong belief. We all forget he's the voice of Rocket Raccoon, so his voice acting ability is spectacular, but he's also really great in movies like Silver Linings Playbook, American Sniper, American Hustle, and of course A Star Is Born, which he was absolutely snubbed for. He should have won the Oscar for Best Actor that year. Just the moment where he's kind of in rehab talking to Lady Gaga and he breaks down. How does that not win an Oscar? I honestly don't know, but Rami Malek lip syncing does. Academy, explain. Coming in at number 9 for me is going to be the man himself, Denzel Washington, one of the greatest actors of our time. I just think of Coach Boone from Remember the Titans every time I see Denzel's face, and I'm like, man, that movie is amazing, and he honestly should have been nominated for an Oscar. You fumble the football, I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts, and then you will run a mile. Perfection! I pretty much have a whole video where I watch this movie and quote the whole thing. I'll put the link up here, but he's also in Training Day and gives an epic monologue there as well. King Kong ain't got shit on me! Won an Oscar for that movie, so he can do no wrong in my eyes. Coming at number 8 for me is going to be one of the most iconic actors of all time, especially with his use of a certain cuss phrase, if you will, and that is Samuel L. Jackson, who I feel like has become synonymous with Quentin Tarantino movies. He's in Pulp Fiction as Jules, he's in Jackie Brown, he's in Django Unchained, he's a narrator voice in Inglourious Basterds, he's in The Hateful Eight. He's in like more than half of Quentin Tarantino's movies. Their pairings are just epic, and he delivers some fantastic performances. I mean, his most iconic moment's probably in Pulp Fiction. What? Say what again? But then he goes on to be Mace Windu, a Jedi Knight on the Jedi Council in Star Wars, and then he plays Nick Fury, who essentially establishes the Avengers in the MCU. This guy, I think, is the actor with the most box office revenue ever. Him and Harrison Ford go toe-to-toe. Samuel L. Jackson is an actor who basically does no wrong. Yeah, he's probably in a bad movie every now and then, but I have to respect a guy who grinds this much and delivers consistently great performances, as well as iconic quotes. Coming in at number 7 for me is Christian Bale. He's my favorite Batman. There, I said it. I love him so much, and I don't know if anyone will top him. Just kidding. Robert Pattinson is going to. I'm sorry to it's disappointing him out there, but Robert Pattinson's going to take the cake. I'm vengeance. He's an American Psycho and one of the most underrated performances of all time from an Academy Awards perspective. Everyone in the world who's seen that movie knows he's great in it, but the Oscars didn't think so, I guess. But it's a dark comedy that just works, and he's Patrick Bateman. That right there puts him on the list.
Impressive. Very nice.
But of course, he's in movies like The Prestige, The Fighter. He won an Oscar for The Fighter. And he's very much known for losing lots of weight or putting on a lot of weight, and I have to respect him for that. Coming in at number 6 is going to be an actor who he embodies the character that he plays so much. That's why he made the list, and that's Robert Downey Jr. or RDJ. Iron Man. Absolutely. That's what he is to me. He's been in multiple Iron Man movies, Avengers movies, MCU movies where he plays this character, and he's basically become Tony Stark in my eyes. That's why he's on the list. Like, I love Tony Stark. He's my favorite MCU character, so I have to put the actor who plays him on here. But he's also Sherlock Holmes, and in Tropic Thunder, he's hilarious and got nominated for an Oscar there. I just respect his story too, this comeback story of Robert Downey Jr. I love you 3000, RDJ. Coming in at number 5 for me is going to be the legend himself, Matthew McConaughey. Yep, the first film role he ever had was in Dazed and Confused, where he delivered his most iconic quote of all time. He was in Interstellar in 2014. He was in True Detective Season 1. Probably his best performance, in my opinion. He's really great in it. Haven't seen Dallas Buyers Club, where he won the Oscar. Still got to check that out. But he's in We Are Marshall, U571, Sahara. He was in a lot of movies in the early 2000s that were kind of slept on by critics, but I still thoroughly enjoy. And of course, he's in The Wolf of Wall Street, and he might even steal the show. I mean, he stole the Oscar from Leonardo DiCaprio, so... But I'll leave you with these 3 words. Alright. Coming in at number 4 for me is going to be an actor who a lot of people probably don't think of when it comes to the greatest of all time, or even their personal favorite. He's almost like comfort. He's just there. No one really appreciates it, in my opinion. Harrison Ford. Indiana Jones, Han Solo, and then performances in movies like Witness and The Fugitive are what put him on this list. Harrison Ford played 2 of my childhood icons in Indiana Jones and Han Solo. He had to be on this list. In Return of the Jedi, when he's blinded from being in carbonite, frozen, and he's like just blind. I mean, that's great acting right there. And then when we're there on the sail barge and he's like, Boba Fett, anything he says as Indiana Jones is pretty damn iconic. I mean, all he has to do is capture that look. But he's really great in Witness. He actually got nominated for an Oscar. And then in The Fugitive, I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. It's a great movie, great line from that movie, but Harrison Ford is a national treasure. Coming in at number 3 for me is going to be Tom Hanks. That's right, Forrest Gump was not missing this list. That's his best performance in my opinion, but he's also in movies like Castaway where he really loses his mind, becomes friends with the volleyball. Well said! It's almost heartbreaking, actually. And then, of course, he's Woody from Toy Story, where he gives some of the best voice acting I've ever seen. He also does great work in The Polar Express, which a lot of people kind of crap on, but I think that's a pretty decent holiday movie. But it also is nostalgic for me, so maybe I'm biased. Tom Hanks is an icon, and in the 80s, he was in movies like Big, which, again, is a classic. I'm so happy I've finally seen that movie. And Saving Private Ryan in the 90s, but he's so damn good in every single role that he's in. He's never given a bad performance. My top 2 are almost interchangeable. I think that they work very well together in a certain movie. But coming in at number 2 for me is going to be Brad Pitt. Now, I think he's one of the kings of cool. He's Cliff Booth in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so of course he was going to make this list. I mean, that guy is one of the coolest movie characters of all time. He actually won his Oscar for that finally, at least when it comes to acting. But he's also in Moneyball as Billy Bean, gives one of his best performances there. But he's also Lieutenant Aldo Rain, Gorlami. He's in Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. Honestly, I think that he might have the most iconic quotes in all of movie history. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which is probably one of his best performances. It's one of my favorite Fincher movies. His filmography continues to grow, and I can't wait to see his future. I think he could win another Oscar down the road. But coming in at number 1, if you haven't guessed by now, the only actor who his movies are basically events, like there's directors who you get hyped for, but if this guy's in a movie, everyone's gonna go see it and everyone's gonna talk about it, and that is Leonardo DiCaprio, baby. Everyone knows he was gonna be number 1. Rick Dalton himself from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I love that movie so much. I'm looking at the poster right now. Hey. He's also Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street, probably his most iconic role at this point that everyone really knows him for, but he's also in The Departed. I love that movie, and him in the Boston accent, you know how it is. Sorry you guys had to hear that. He's Calvin Candy and Django Unchained, completely on the opposite end of the spectrum, just playing this evil, despicable human being so well, probably should have been nominated or even won an Oscar that year. And then he's at Dom Cobb in Inception, kind of a chill role. Like, this guy can do it all. He's also Gatsby. Hey, old sport. The way that he looks, like, he can do it all, whether it's the yell acting, which is what I love to say. Leo's really good at that.
What's your responsibility? Embarrass yourself like that. Shut up! The show goes on!
Anytime Leo's in a movie, people get hype. It's a cultural phenomenon. The Oscar buzz is real. I think he's the most famous actor of our time and maybe of all time. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. He never gives a bad performance in my opinion, but that's going to do it for my top 10 favorite actors of all time. Probably going to do the same video with actresses, so stay tuned for that if you guys want to see that. Also, let me know down below. Stay tuned for future content coming soon, WandaVision content as always, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.